Welcome to Encounter, where we celebrate putting faith into action and community leaders who live out compassion, grace, and love. We're a program of the Broome County Council of Churches that addresses food insecurity through CHOW and the Greater Good Grocery, provides hospital and jail ministry, builds wheelchair ramps, and assists neighbors with transportation and shopping services through Faith in Action volunteers. We invite you to the conversation. Encounter your neighbors as we learn to walk together in love and kindness.
Good morning. I'm your host today, Joe Sellepack, Executive Director at the Broome County Council of Churches. It's my pleasure to introduce to the community and to all of you, to our viewers and our listeners, Glenn Ferguson, who is the newly appointed pastor at Vestal United Methodist Church. Got appointed in June, I think, of this year. Welcome to Encounter today, Glenn.
Thank you.
So we're going to talk a little bit about Glenn, your call to ministry, what's happening at Vestal United Methodist Church, and some of the things, some of the ways that our viewers, if they would like to be able to connect with your congregation, how they might be able to do that. So let's talk a little bit about you. How did you become a pastor of a church?
Well, I had grown up apart from the church. I had not been involved in any church really growing up. I was in college when I came to faith in Christ. I was 21 when that happened.
So you didn't have any family history at all in that?
Very little.
Oh, okay.
When I was very small, we went to a Lutheran church a couple of times a year, but that's pretty much all there was to that.
Yeah.
So I was in college, and I had changed majors a few times because I didn't know what I wanted to do with my life.
Like a lot of kids in college, right?
Yeah. So I landed on being a psychology major.
Oh, okay.
And a BA in psychology will buy you a hamburger, not much else. So I was trying to figure out what I was going to do with my life after college. And when I had come to faith, I had done so in a United Methodist church, and I had become a member there, and the pastor there had invited me to get more deeply involved, and I became the youth director eventually. And he invited me to preach a few times, and what I didn't know was that behind the scenes there was a group of people in that church that were praying that I would understand that I was receiving the call of God to go into ministry. And my pastor talked to me about it, and eventually I came to believe that that was the case, that God was indeed calling me into ministry. And so I applied to and was accepted at what was then called Eastern Baptist Theological Seminary in Philadelphia.
Oh, yeah.
It's now called Palmer Theological Seminary, but
Ron Snyder and
Ron Sider.
Ron Sider and
my nemesis.
And then what was his name? Tony Campolo and a bunch of other people were there, right?
Yep. And so I went there for my MDiv. And when I started my first year at seminary, I was also beginning the process toward ordination in the United Methodist Church, which is very different from the way it is now. But I received a call to a student appointment. So I began seminary in September of that year, and I took my first appointment in October of that year. Mm-hmm. It was a 3-point charge, so it was real baptism by fire.
Yeah, it would have been. Now for folks that aren't part of the United Methodist system, when you say 3-point charge, what do you mean by that?
Well, I was the pastor of 3 small churches that were all within a few minutes driving distance of each other. So every Sunday morning I would drive to the first church at 9 o'clock, take care of that service, drive to the next church at 10:10, take care of that service, drive to the third one at 11:15, and then after that kind of collapse a little bit.
Yeah, that's probably what would have happened too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So as far as like your call to ministry, it sounds like there was a combination of your gifts and graces, as well as the congregation that kind of saw in you the gifts and graces.
Yeah, I
right?
think that's a good way of putting it. Yeah.
And so you feel like it, and you've had a significant career with it, right? So where have you been in 30 plus years?
Well, I've served a number of the churches in what in those days was called the Southern New Jersey Annual Conference, later became a part of the Greater New Jersey Annual Conference. So a number of churches opened up when we merged with the Northern Conference to become Greater New Jersey. So I served a church in Middletown, New Jersey, not far from Red Bank, and had a career that, for the most part, was very rewarding, very satisfying.
Yeah. And what about ministries do you find satisfying? What is it that makes a satisfying ministry?
Well, there's a few different things. Knowing that people are responding to things that I say and things that I try to lead them to do. And I love teaching. And when I know that there's been a good teaching moment, I find that very rewarding. Helping people through difficult times is one of the most rewarding things. When we're done here, I have a hospital visit I have to make. And, and doing those kinds of things that get people who sometimes feel very alone to know that they're not alone, and that someone from the church cares enough to be with them, and that tells them that also God cares, and that they've not been abandoned in any sense of the word.
So it's really people focused.
Yes.
And when you see growth in someone, you feel as if you're connecting with them, right?
That's right.
And like what are and I know that you came to Christ, in your 20s when you were in college. Do you find yourself connecting to people that are struggling in this, in some of the same ways maybe that you were struggling through your life until that point?
Yes, and in fact, I was thinking about this yesterday. This being the holiday season coming up, we have the Blue Christmas service on December 21, and I was thinking yesterday about what I was going to do with that service, and how much I connect to people who feel a sense of loss.
Yeah.
And how that's going to be, in some ways, it's going to be a difficult service to preside over, but also I think it'll probably be a pretty rewarding one as well.
Have you done them before?
I've not done one in quite a long time.
Oh, and so Vestal has done these over a course of time,
Yes,
right?
yes, it's one of the things Vestal does pretty regularly.
So that's on December 21st at what time?
At 7 o'clock.
At 7 o'clock. And so people, for people that may not know, blue services are generally for people who've had either a loss or some kind of thing that has led them to a point where for other people, Christmas is a time of celebration.
That's right.
But for some of us, it's not, right?
That's right. It's for people who have lost a loved one to death, or perhaps they've lost a significant relationship, maybe a divorce.
Yeah.
People that are just feeling generally lost, and for whom Christmas isn't necessarily the time of joy that it is for everybody else.
Right.
We want those people to know that they're not alone, and that there is someone who cares about them, and that God cares about them.
And does that influence like the music choices? And
very definitely.
Like how does that work out?
Well, I was actually reviewing some music yesterday for that service, and there's a piece, and unfortunately I can't give credit to the composer, but there is a piece called Night of Silence / Silent Night.
Oh, yeah.
And it's a beautiful thing, and I had never heard of it until just this week. And I was listening to it yesterday, and it never struck me before until yesterday, in fact, that some of the words to that very familiar hymn, Silent Night, are pretty powerful messages to people for whom nights are times of silence.
Yeah.
And I want them to feel that there is this opportunity to not have to endure the silence, at least not endure it alone.
Right.
To know that there is a voice that speaks in the silence. And I'm looking forward to that. And I'm pretty sure I'm going to work that piece of music into the service at some point.
That's awesome. And so, the purpose is to show people that they're not alone in their suffering, right?
Yeah, yeah. There's another song that I'm probably going to use. I'm sure you know it, In the Bleak Midwinter.
Oh, yeah.
Based on that wonderful poem by Christina Rossetti. And for some, that's all Christmas is. It's a part of a bleak, lifeless landscape in their lives, and I want them to know that it doesn't have to be that way.
And if Christ comes into the world and incarnate, Christ becomes incarnate in that bleakness as well, right?
Yes.
That's a pretty profound statement. It's a pretty profound service then that you're offering.
Well, I hope that people experience it that way, yeah.
Yeah. So we find out that Glenn Ferguson has been a Jersey boy, and how did you come to Central New York, to this area?
Well, when I took early retirement, my wife and I are big football fans.
Oh yeah.
And we decided to take a trip to Florida with the Philadelphia Eagles fan club. And we went to see the Eagles play the Tampa Bay Bucks in Tampa.
Oh, there you go.
And while we were in the Tampa area, we were driving around and we thought it was pretty nice, and we thought, hey, why don't we move here?
Uh-huh.
And so there was nothing to stop us from doing that, so we did. And we moved to Florida. What I discovered was that after a year, I was restless and I felt unfocused, and I felt the need to be a pastor again. And so I called the bishop in Florida and asked if there was an appointment available, and there was. And so I served a church in Punta Gorda, Florida for 4 years. And then we moved to the Bradenton area, where I was working in another church for the last year. Then we decided we really needed to leave Florida, come back to a part of the world that's more familiar to us, that makes us feel more at home. And so,
Four Seasons and all the rest of that kind of thing, right?
Flowers that, leaves that change color, and
right.
Snow on the ground. And so I got in touch with Bishop Hector here, and it turned out we had the appointment available to us at Vestal, and that's how we wound up here.
Now, some of our viewers may not be familiar with the appointment term. So, I've been involved in some congregations that are congregationally focused, where there's a vote and a number of other things that kind of come along with that. How does the United Methodist system work?
Well, here in the Upper New York Annual Conference, Bishop Hector works along with his cabinet. That's a group of district superintendents. And every year they review the churches that they have that are going to be open, available for a pastoral appointment. And people like myself review the list on the conference website. We see churches that we think we might be interested in serving. We let the bishop and the cabinet know that, and then they discern who they want to appoint to the various churches, and based on profiles from both the churches and the pastors, and they try to match those up as well as they can, and go from there.
And so the gifts and the graces that were initially even seen in you, and the growth that you went through in, I don't know how many years. Like, where are we at? 30
We're
plus?
We're at 40 plus.
40 plus years. So 40 plus years of growth. They felt that it was a real good match for Vestal United Methodist.
It seems so, and my experience so far is just confirming that they were correct.
Yeah. And so how have you found the area? Like,
well, we both love it here. Both being my wife and I, we love the area. We love the hills and the trees and everything about the environment of the area. We love, so far, the people of the area have been very welcoming. It's an interesting church, Vestal. It's a very creative and committed congregation. There's a higher level of education represented in the congregation than I have known in a while. So I'm recovering some vocabulary I haven't used in a while.
Yeah.
Knowing that on every Sunday I'm preaching to a bunch of PhDs out in the congregation. That sounds a little elitist, but...
well, it is where Binghamton University is located, so you've got it right in your backyard pretty much, right? So
Yeah. So it's been interesting making that adjustment, but really just meeting a bunch of deeply committed and very creative people has been just a wonderful thing so far.
And what are some of the ministries that they've been engaging in that kind of are that lead you to really love the congregation?
Well, one of the things is that they have a very diverse, I should stop saying we have a very diverse music program. The director of our music is a very accomplished organist and pianist, and he's a really good choir director. We have bells for adults, we have chimes for children, we have all kinds of ensembles that play in the church. We have a hammered dulcimer group.
Yeah.
We have a group that plays
hammered dulcimer. Even.
Yeah.
So that's not even the strumming part. There's a
little bit of both.
Yeah, both. Yeah.
We have a string quartet. We have a brass quartet. One thing that I want to do at some point, maybe next time we get around to Christmas, I want to bring all those ensembles together and see if we can't make a little bit of an orchestra at some point.
Now, forgive me if I'm wrong, but it sounds to me as if music has been a big thing for you.
Music has been and continues to be a big thing for me. Backtracking a bit, when I was in high school, I was certain that I was going to become a professional opera singer.
Oh, wow.
And I was intending to go to the New England Conservatory of Music in Boston. But I had a little bit of a tragic audition one day. People from the Met were in the audition audience, and it did not go well. And I had one of those moments in life that you regret for the rest of your life, where I abandoned my plan to be a professional opera singer. And if I could go back to one moment in my life and redo it, it would be that moment. It turns out I was never going to be good enough to be a professional opera singer, but I could have been a music teacher.
Right.
And that would have been okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, in later years, I have sung with a bunch of choral ensembles. I've been with Choral Arts Philadelphia, Key Chorale Sarasota, Musica Sacra Sarasota. So I have done a lot of singing. I've been on tour in Italy, and I'm looking into the possibility of doing another tour of Italy next summer.
Oh, wow.
That may not happen, but so that's the long answer to your question. Yes, music is very important to me, and to find a church that has such a strong music program has been just a real blessing to me.
And that would that have been part of your profile that you put together?
Yes, and it was one of the reasons that I had Vestal at the top of my list to start with.
Right.
The diversity and the quality of the music program. But it also turns out that they're very deeply interested in things like supporting the Council of Churches. They're very invested in feeding the hungry and of taking care of the needy around us. I last week presented our Advent missions program, and it turns out that it was 2 sides of a page of paper.
Oh, wow.
All of the opportunities the congregation has to reach out to the people around us to help in these difficult days.
So for those that might be curious about where the physical location of Vestal United Methodist Church is, would you like to give that out?
It's 328 Main Street in Vestal. We're just about 100 yards or so from the intersection where Four Corners is, and very easy to get to.
And if people were interested in the music program and how they might be able to do that, would that be on your website?
It would be on our website or on our Facebook page.
Okay, and what is your website? Is it vestalunitedmethodist.org or something?
I'm a little embarrassed to not be able to answer that with a lot of confidence.
If somebody Googles Vestal.
If somebody Googled Vestal United Methodist Church, they would find it easily.
They would find it really easy. So that would be awesome. So when you're thinking about, like, and I know it's kind of early in your tenure at the church, but what are some of your hopes and dreams for the congregation?
Well, one of the things that our church, and my guess is that most churches are still struggling with, is recovering from the effects of COVID, what COVID did to most of our churches in taking away so many people. We're in the process of recovering from that. So that's going to be a gradual thing, and we're going to have to do some things differently than we did before COVID. But I also have challenged all of the ministry teams of the church to put children and youth at the top of their list of priorities for things to do this coming year, so that whenever we do anything, I want to ask them, how is that going to draw children and youth to our church? What do we have to offer them that will make them want to be a part of what we're doing? So,
and as far as like the faith development of people within the congregation, is there stuff that you're kind of working toward in that way?
Well, we have a number of opportunities for people to grow in the faith. We have a number of adult education classes. I think there are 4 of them at the moment. We have Sunday school for the children. Right now we have a confirmation class going for our youth. So there's any number of ways that people can grow in the faith. We have regular prayer for everybody, and it's a church that is really good at taking care of the people who need taken care of.
Right. And the people that need taken care of, how would they define that?
It's probably a broader definition than you might find at some places. It's not just the people that are having medical issues, but it's also the people that are going through times of grief and loss, people that are going through difficulties with respect to jobs. There's a lot of that now. There are people that maybe don't live right in our community but are not far away. One of the things that I've been in conversation with a pastor from another church across the river to discuss how we can be in partnership with them to help serve a population of needy people that we don't necessarily have right in Vestal, but that are not far from us.
And that would be more in the Westover area, right?
More Endicott, Endwell.
Endwell, yeah. And those kinds of relationships are important for congregations, aren't they? Because it kind of gets them into mission in a way.
Yeah, sometimes churches get a little bit insular and,
Right.
and inner focused, and it's a way of broadening their vision for defining the word neighbor.
Right.
You know,
And so when you're thinking about so the obvious story that I go to when I think about who is my neighbor is the Good Samaritan, right? So
Yeah.
the story of the Good Samaritan and how that kind of plays itself out within the text. When you're thinking of that, are you thinking through that kind of a lens, like who not only who looks like me, but who are the folks that were called to that kind of stretch us?
that's been an important story for me. I have traveled to the Holy Lands quite a few times over the years. And one of the things that we have done on many of our trips to the Holy Lands is to stop on the old Roman road that runs between Jerusalem and Jericho, and we reenact the story of the Good Samaritan. And doing that really helps to, in that place and with indigenous peoples right there with us, it helps to broaden our understanding of what that story is about. One day I was sitting outside of a restaurant to the north of Amman, Jordan, and one of the people on the trip with us came out to me and said, "What are you doing out here?" And I said, "Well, I'm just watching the scenery and watching people go by." And they said, "Well, aren't you afraid?" And I said, "No. Why would I be afraid?" And the problem was that person had a very parochial view of who Jordanians were, who Arabic peoples are, and that they are somehow people that we should be afraid of.
Right.
Traveling has a way of broadening your perspective.
Yeah.
I think that it's impossible to travel broadly and remain narrowly focused. And so I want to share with my congregation the understanding that when Jesus wanted to describe who our neighbor is, it's not a matter of locality.
Yeah.
It's a matter of who we are as human beings, and that every person, no matter where they are, is someone to whom we are neighbor.
My guest today has been Glenn Ferguson. He is the newly appointed pastor at Vestal United Methodist Church. I want to thank you for being on Encounter with me today, Glenn. And for all of you who are watching today, I pray that you would be kind and generous to each other and take what Glenn was saying to heart. Find somebody that you can be a neighbor to, and somebody who would stretch your understanding of who it is a neighbor. Have a great day.